Hello, and welcome to our first Piney News of the new year, 2017, and this is the Piney News for January 2017. And as I talked about the last time, our monthly Piney News updates will be about environmental issues, while the other ones will be about all the other stuff. All right, so we're going to first talk about some environmental issues here, and I brought this up in the last update a little bit. There was a beautiful piece of property on Mauritius Road in Lake Grove by the Smith Haven Mall, and it was an old school. And these were beautiful school buildings. Unfortunately, they were the subject of vandalism in recent years. But was also present on that property were some absolutely beautiful old pitch pines, and quite a few of them. And this, in my opinion, was a historic site. And we're now going to take a look at what that site looks like, what it used to look like, and what they've done to it.
Take note here at this large area of cleared land. This used to be where the site of this Lake Grove School was. And then look at this residential development here, which is McMansions for rich people. All right, they're going to extend this development. You can actually almost see the streets here. They're going to extend this development. You can see this is going to be one of the streets, and then one of them is going to go over here, and then one of them is going to go over here out to Parsnip Pond Road. So let's take a look at what once was here. This street view was taken in October 2013. So we're going to take a look and see what once was here. And you can see, look at these beautiful pitch pines here. Let's see if I can zoom in. Yeah, that's good. Look at these beautiful old pitch pines, and there's a number of them. Another one here. There's a whole bunch of them here. What a beautiful site. This could have made a beautiful park. People could have gone to. This was an old school at one time. It was a regular school, then it was a special needs school, but when it closed, it started getting vandalized. And sometimes I think maybe the owners of the property did it on purpose so they could develop it. You can see, look at these beautiful pitch pines. Look at all this beautiful site. Would have made a beautiful park. But this is all a pile of dirt now, unfortunately. And this is the school building there, and look at those beautiful pitch pines. But the only images we have of this are here on Google Earth. And isn't that a shame that this whole, look at all these beautiful pitch pines. This is in a heavily developed area near Smith Haven Mall. Why couldn't they leave this little bit alone so people could have a little escape from the insanity? But no, they couldn't do that. And what we have is, well, I'll show you what we're going to have. So again, look at this. Just look at these beautiful old pitch pines. All this is gone, folks. All this is gone. When I first learned about this, I honestly, I felt like crying, because this is such a beautiful site. And you can see that's the school building there. And then this was before it was vandalized. It was a nice little historic building that they could have saved and restored it. But no, they couldn't do that. No. Instead, what they're going to be building is more homes for rich people. So let's take you in now to what they've already built next to this, and this is what's going to occur. So of course they use landscapers, and you know what landscapers hire, and you know how terrible they are for the environment. Here's a look into the old property again, a little look into it. This could have been a beautiful park. Look at these beauties. Look at these beauties, man. This looks just like New Jersey, man. But it's not there anymore. Instead, it's just going to be more stuff for rich people. More McMansions and stuff. So this is what's coming. This is what's coming. So that's what's coming, folks. More fancy homes for rich people.
So as you can see, we had a beautiful site with beautiful pitch pines. They could have rebuilt those buildings. They could have made it a nice little park, or maybe a little college campus or something. But no. They clear-cut the whole property, knocked down all the beautiful pine trees, all those beautiful old pitch pines, and are going to be extending the McMansion development that's already near it. This whole area used to actually be all woods, even even south of that, and they knocked those woods down to build more of these McMansions, more homes for rich yuppies to live in, and less pines. What a shame. I believe this lies, I'm not sure if it lies in the, I don't think it lies in the town of Brookhaven. I think it lies in the village of Lake Grove. And if that's the case, then the village of Lake Grove probably were the ones who decided to allow this development. They should be ashamed of themselves, personally. What a shame. That is absolutely disgusting. And then we have more pines being destroyed. This is by Farmingdale Airport now. This is a site that you could see from Route 109 there, before you get to the Parkway. There used to be a whole area of woods on the southeast corner of the Farmingdale Airport property. Well, these woods are knocked down so they could expand an aviation company.
This is the area here of Farmingdale Republic Airport, and you will notice here the runways here, and you will notice Route 109 here, Route 110 here, Southern State Parkway here. This area right here is where there used to be a nice little area of Pine Barrens. As you can see, it's all dirt now. It's all been knocked down. And if we go and we rewind things a little bit, you will see that this was recently knocked down. See, that's what used to be there. That's what used to be there. See, all those nice pines. Could have been a nice little park for people. Could have put a nice little park there, but instead they knocked it down to build an aviation company that could have been built, and there are plenty of blighted areas they could have put that, but instead they've decided to knock down all these trees. What a shame.
This far west, having Pine Barrens like that, that should have been protected. And personally, I guess it used to be a buffer zone. I'm not sure exactly why these woods haven't been turned into a park, but this is yet another example. This does lie just across the border in Suffolk County, but this is just another example of the failure to preserve land. You know, all the money collected by the county and all these various towns that are supposed to go to preservation, and yet we are not purchasing enough wooded land. We're not purchasing enough Pine Barrens. When you compare it against what they've done in the counties in New Jersey, such as Ocean County, even Monmouth County, they've preserved a lot more land, and they are generally there's less taxes paid there, so they're doing more with less over there in Ocean County and in Monmouth County by preserving land, while we continue to fall behind on the land preservation here, and it's a real shame. But I have some good news, and that they've preserved land in Yaphank. They've preserved, I brought this up before, but I'll bring it up again because I want to go over where this is. This is the Yaphank County Center area. So let's take a look at that now.
This is where the Suffolk County Jail is. This is Suffolk County offices. Or actually, no, this is the old nursing home that they're going to reopen, the John J. Foley. It's going to open as something else. This is the police department, and you can see there's plenty of woods around it. So a lot of these woods now, most of these are Pine Barrens. So you can see it's piney over here. Will be protected. So I think this is great news, especially because you have to remember that the Carmens River is right over here. So it's very important to protect land over here. So the Carmens River. This is one of the wild and scenic rivers in the wild and scenic river system, and we got to make sure that that's protected, as well as protecting all those beautiful pines.
So you can see there that there was a lot of Pine Barrens there, and I'm glad to see that they're preserving 137 acres of that, and only restricting development to 60 acres of that site. So I think that's an excellent thing that they've done there. The other thing is the Hills Project in East Quogue, or the Southampton Hills, goes by many names. Something very interesting has happened on the property. This may just be a mere coincidence, or it may have been done on purpose. But there's a large area now of dead pines on this property, dead pitch pines. You can see on the satellite. This used to be a lush area of pines, and now all these pines are dead. Now, it could be southern pine beetle, that's what I'm thinking, but were the southern pine beetles possibly placed there? So the developer can then claim that there's no trees left? I wonder. So take a look at what's going on over there.
So we are looking at an overview of the Hills at Southampton project site. That this is where they want to build that, luxury golf course with luxury things for rich people. Take a note, and it's pretty easy to see this circular area of red or dead trees here. This was once a thriving pitch pine forest here. But unfortunately, it has been decimated by southern pine beetles. And it's kind of suspicious because of the project they want to build at this site. It's also kind of suspicious when you look at the circular pattern of this. And this was mostly young pines. Usually the southern pine beetles don't strike young pines. This was not a forest fire. This was southern pine beetles, and you can see that the southern pine beetles are continuing to spread here. You can see the fingers of them. See all these red trees here? These are all trees that are now infested with southern pine beetles and are dying, and these trees are probably next. So again, this used to be a nice area of nothing but pines. And just to prove my point, we're going to take back the street view, and you will see. We will take back, we will take back the satellite image here from May of 2016, and we're going to go back a couple of years. Yeah, this is from 2012. And you can see there's all pines here. All the green is filled in. Let's see if I can get. I'm trying to get around the similar time of year. All right, yeah, this is a good example here. And you can see here that this was all pines. You can see all pines here, all pines here. This was all pitch pines here for the most part. Healthy forest. This was a sand pit. This is a sand pit, I guess, so it's a leftover of a sand mine, but the pines were reclaiming it. But now, when we fast forward to now, you can see, then, now. You see the difference? Look here. Zoom in a little bit. So this is now. And this is that. So this is 2012. Again, see all the green from the pines? Green now. Dead. Yeah, so you see the southern pine beetles have affected this whole area of pines. It's just awfully suspicious that it's happening on a property that they want to put a development in.
So I don't put it past Discovery Land to do something like this, to try to get this another development for rich people, another golf course, just what we need, another golf course for rich people. Don't we have enough already? I mean, really, I think it's ridiculous. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about, and this is something that happened a little while now. What's going on is they plan major development on the old Pilgrim State Hospital site. Now, a large portion of that is wooded, and I've talked about how they want to knock down a lot of the woods over there to build this project. It would have a negative impact on the nearby Edgewood Preserve, which you've seen in a number of my videos recently. Is a very beautiful place, and it would also it's also not near any transportation. Now, granted, some parts of this Pilgrim site could be redeveloped into something nice. I don't have a problem with it. But once you start knocking down trees, I have a problem. You can go ahead and redevelop the areas where there's crumbling buildings and whatnot. But when it comes to the Pine Barrens and when it comes to open space and a natural environment, I have a real problem with putting development there. And unfortunately, Heartland has already knocked down woods that this wasn't even brought up in the news, but this was in the past year or two, and I never even got around to talking about it. But in Deer Park, right adjacent to Edgewood Preserve on the east side of the power lines, used to be a nice wooded area, and most of that has been knocked down. So let's take a look at what's going on there.
Now, we're going to be looking here at Deer Park, Edgewood area, and Heartland. So this, you see over here to the left, this is Edgewood Preserve, all right? And over to the right, this is Heartland Industrial Park. And take note here, now this is still an area that's existing right now of Pine Barrens here in this area, which probably will eventually get knocked down, unfortunately, because this over here is not part of Edgewood Preserve. But take note here of this cleared area here, this area of dirt. All right? Now, this used to be woods. This used to be woods. And if we were this image, satellite images, is as of May 2016, but let's go back a couple of years. Yep, there you go. In 2013, it used to be woods. It used to all be Pine Barrens. You can see this all used to be Pine Barrens here. Very nice, beautiful, thick forest of pitch pines. The kind of forest that we are losing way too much of here on Long Island. And if we go and we take a look at the street view, you'll get a better appreciation of what used to be here. You can see, look at that. Just look at all those great shapes. That's not there anymore. This is all gone. What a shame. This is all gone. Let me zoom in a little bit. You can see what used to be here. Beautiful pitch pine forest, but this is all gone for more development. And I took a video here the other day.
Yeah, what a shame. This used to all be pines over here. This all used to be pines over here, this whole area. It's such a shame. I don't even see them building anything. They just got piles of sand here. I don't know if it's just a sand mine or what over here that they're putting. It's a shame what goes on Long Island, it really is. We need to be more like New Jersey. We really do. Yeah, I don't know what they're putting over here. I have no idea. Alright, so you can see what's going on there. Again, they knocked down a beautiful area of pines, and who knows what else they could knock down over there, because, you know, and they just keep going with this overdevelopment, and yet there's no preservation. So the next thing I want to talk about, we have 4 green battles, and this is a busy environmental agenda for 2017. So this is from the Pine Barrens Society's newsletter. Clean water gains. They talk about. They talked about that. They're trying to, you know, the campaign to reduce nitrogen in groundwater is being improved and fought harder, and they're trying to, you know, keep our water clean. And the second thing is the fight against the southern pine beetles. The struggle to contain the southern pine beetle entered its 3rd year in 2016. The insect, which has a taste for pine trees in general and pitch pines in the Pine Barrens in particular, has migrated from southern climates and has now infested more than 5,000 trees. Forecasters say that the insects cannot be eradicated, but can only be managed by felling infested trees and replanting new ones. Now, the good news is the New York State Legislature responded to the Pine Barrens Society's request for $3.5 million a year to manage the beetles, but the money from the state's Environmental Protection Fund still hasn't been received yet. Hopefully it'll be received soon. In the meantime, Governor Andrew Cuomo approved $500,000 in grants to municipalities to help counties, towns, and villages manage the southern pine beetles. So that's some good news there. Forest versus solar. You know, this is a fight that's been ongoing. They want to build this huge rebelling against the clearing of woodlands for industrial scale solar siting, and they want to basically knock down hundreds of acres of old growth forest in Shoreham and Wading River to put up a solar farm. Now, I love solar energy. I think it's a great idea. But why do we need to be doing that when we could be putting solar panels in every parking lot? There should be solar panels in every parking lot. Take a look at what they've done in Deer Park. Solar panels over the parking lot. Now, this is a win-win situation because here in Deer Park, the whole parking lot has solar panels, most of it, and you get shade for your car, so it's not hot in the summer, and You have solar panels out there that are collecting free energy from the sun with no carbon emissions. So it's a beautiful thing. So imagine if every parking lot was like that. You got shade for your car and you got free energy from the sun. And we don't have to knock down any trees because we already have a parking lot. So I think that's a win-win situation. Let's get solar panels in all the malls. Think of all the buildings. We could put them everywhere. That makes a lot more sense than knocking down trees when we could put solar panels already on all our man-made structures that we have already. And of course, they talked about a rally against the Hills. Nearly 150 Long Islanders turned out for a rally against the proposed Hills at Southampton mega golf resort in the Pine Barrens of East Quogue. That project calls for the construction of an 18-hole private golf course with 118 residences and a 760,000 square foot clubhouse and catering facility on a 595-acre site. Development of the sprawling landscape would threaten already compromised groundwater and critical Pine Barrens habitat. All right, so that would be really bad if that happened. Hopefully we can stop that project. Now, onto the climate. Sea level rise. We've been having sea level rise. You know, 2016 was the warmest year on record. And it just keeps getting warmer. The ice keeps melting. And sea levels will begin to rise really soon. We're going to start to see that. We're already, I think, starting to see it a little bit. All right. So I want to show you what could happen to Long Island if we don't do anything about climate change. How the sea level rise is going to change our shoreline and change a lot of the communities, particularly on the South Shore.
Now, we're going to take a look at how sea level rise is going to impact certain areas. And I can't show you every single area on Long Island, but I'm going to show you some areas. So we'll start with Belmore, Merrick, Wantagh, and Seaford. This is the map of the two-level sea rise. You can see the two-level foot sea level rise. You can see with the blue, those are areas that are going to be inundated with just a 2-foot sea level rise. All right, and you can see that there's going to be inundation here. Also, you take a look at Massapequa. Also, there's going to be inundation. You can see how this is also going to affect Jones Beach. This is just a 2-foot sea level rise. This is going to affect Long Beach too. All right, but let's go ahead and let's raise this here. This is 2 foot now. Let's go all the way up to 5 feet. And you can see now that there's now flooding. A lot of neighborhoods south of Merrick Road are now uninhabitable due to flooding. All right, even if you're here and it's dry, you'll be cut off from the mainland. So with just 5 feet of sea level rise, most everything south of Merrick Road is going to be uninhabitable. And even some areas north of Merrick Road are going to be uninhabitable. And this doesn't even count the additional hurricanes that are going to occur and the storm surge from that. You can see a good part of Long Beach is uninhabitable now. Jones Beach, a lot of Jones Beach is underwater as well. And you can see really a huge disaster this would be here. All right? But this is what's going to happen if we don't get climate change under control as the ice caps continue to melt, which is going to raise. That's a scientific fact. When sea ice melts, it's going to raise the sea level. And this is what happens. I want to go further east to show you a little bit here what's going to happen further east. You can see the same thing. Everything south of Merrick Road is flooded. All right, and it's going to be a similar thing all along the South Shore and all these beautiful places. A lot of the towns in Fire Island, like Sheltair, all these towns are going to be underwater with a 5 feet sea level rise. I'm going to dial it back to 2. All right, and you can see, again, there's still a lot of flooding. So I'll give you the link to this site. You can look and see just how sea level impact is going to affect wherever you live along the coast, sea level rise. And we can change here, sea level rise, vulnerability, socioeconomic vulnerability. So the confidence, marsh, we're going to lose marshes too. All right, so all this stuff could really, this is a great map, it's from NOAA, definitely check it out. Especially these people who are on the South Shore who keep driving vehicles that get very poor fuel economy. Think about how is this going to affect the future value of your home and the future value of your neighborhood. This is not a joke. It's happening, and we need to at least drive more fuel efficient vehicles. That's the first thing we need to do if you're driving. Please get a more fuel efficient vehicle. There's plenty of them out there. You can get luxury ones too, but there's no reason to be driving that huge SUV, that luxury SUV, especially a lot of these Mercedes GLs I see. You're literally killing your own neighborhood by driving that thing. All right. Now I just want to give you an idea of how storm surge, is going to affect them. Now you have an area that you have higher sea levels, and you're going to have higher storm surge as a result. This is currently a map this is the South Shore of Nassau County, and this is a map of storm surge, what it's going to look like in a Category 1 hurricane. This would just be Category 1. All right, this is pretty much the areas that flooded in Sandy, which, as horrible as it was only Category 1. Now, the hurricane at 38 that hit here was a Category 3 hurricane. Oh my God, look at that. Your Babylon branch, the water's going to go up to Sunrise Highway, all right? And your Babylon branch is going to be out of commission for a very long time if a Category 3 hit. So all these people who are choosing these communities to live in, this is an area at high risk for hurricanes. And in my opinion, there should be more investment going on in the central part of Long Island, particularly up here in my area, Westbury, Newcastle. I mean, this is an area you should be investing in because we're far away from the storm surge. It's never going to get here, all right? Fortunately, we're far enough inland. But you can see here, this is Category 3, which is very possible. It's happened before and can happen again. If Sandy was a Category 3, this, folks, is what would have happened. All these areas would have been underwater, and it would have been a colossal disaster for Long Island, and I'm not even going to start with New York City. But with climate change and warming oceans, I can't necessarily say we couldn't have a Category 5 here. What if we have a Category 5? What's it going to look like then? Oh, it doesn't show up as we don't have it goes up to Category 4. That's it. All right, so what happens if we have a Category 4? Now the water's going well past Sunrise Highway. This is some scary stuff, and if Sandy has taught us anything, and I think people have already forgotten what Sandy has done, is that this threat of climate change is a great threat. I don't necessarily agree with the right thinking it's not a great threat, because I think after illegal immigration, climate change is one of the greatest threats to our way of life, and this is the future. All this could be gone. Think about it.
So as you can see, that map shows you all the areas that would be affected by the climate change. We also have farmers saying that the growing season has now been extended. They are able to plant earlier and harvest later because it's getting warmer. I mean, just see the way the weather's been outside. Winter has been nowhere in sight. It's been ridiculously warm. We haven't even had really much snow yet. This is what's going on. Whether you believe or not, I really honestly think we need to be doing things. The solar panels are a good start, but why do we need big SUVs on the road? Why are we need to be doing something to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide in the air, even creating projects to reduce the carbon dioxide, to take it out of the air so we can save our planet here. To provide jobs, it's a win-win situation. All right, I really do. Like, people will talk about, and a lot of shows on the environment will talk about, well, if we move away from fossil fuels, people in the fossil fuel companies are going to lose their jobs. But they will get new jobs in green energy. You can replace those jobs with green energy jobs. There'll still be people that need to build solar farms, need to build these projects to reduce the carbon dioxide in the air. So I don't see jobs going away as we move toward greener energies here, all right, in my opinion. Long Island Railroad's had a lot of problems lately, great crossing problems. I think it was Christmas Eve, what was it, New Year's, something happened it was a couple of nights ago on the Huntington branch. A car went onto the tracks, got hit by Cold Spring Harbor. That happened twice in the past week. And then a car on the tracks in Syosset. This is what I see all the time here. People put their car on the tracks when they're sitting in traffic. They don't see if it's clear or not.
Oh my God, that car just stopped on the tracks. Look, he's on the tracks. Well, what would happen if a train was coming? That is dangerous right there.
So people just block the tracks. A train could come, and they're just there. Which is why we got to get rid of these grade crossings. The 2nd Avenue subway was recently completed. That's great for people in New York City, but for the money it costs to build that, probably for half the money it costs to build that, we could have eliminated every grade crossing in electrified territory on the Long Island Railroad. And I think that would have been a much better use of money, in my opinion. But people in the city, we have a governor that favors New York City. They think, and this is what happens. This is what happens. Unfortunately, we have the favoring. Meanwhile, you want people on Long Island to leave their cars at home. We've got to improve the mass transportation here. All right, it's not just improving the bus service, but we've got to make the Long Island Railroad more reliable, and doing that means eliminating all the grade crossings. All these projects for New York City, and yet we don't get our fair share of anything here on Long Island, despite the fact that we pay some of the highest taxes. We do not get a fair return on our investment here. All right, so that's it for the Piney News. Let's hope this new year works out better for everybody. I really hope that we can improve things here in 2017, make it a better year for Long Island, save our transportation. There's many ideas out there. Let's start saving our Pine Barrens. We have a new president in the White House that's going to enforce the laws and hopefully get rid of a lot of the illegals, and our communities will hopefully be safer starting really soon. So take it easy. Have a good night. Happy New Year.